at the top of the news agenda here is John Fury. I was over in Budapest to cover Tommy Fury and Roman Fury's respective returns to the ring, not in the UK, in Hungary. But John Fury, for the first time, broke his silence on what he felt happened in that second fight with Oleksandr Usyk and his son Tyson. John was forthright, I guess, in his opinions, and he's right to those opinions. Controversial, of course, as well, too, and that split the public in terms of what they think about it. A lot of people kind of supporting John as well, too. I did see him maybe turning the tide a little bit. John's had curried the favor with people and then kind of being a little bit of a villain or someone to get a bit of hate comment every now and again. But I saw a bit of a mixed reaction on that interview across his opinions. Don't know, you watched it. What did you think of what John had to say?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's some stuff he says. It's like any John Fury interview. And I did appreciate that, like, he did speak a little bit more candidly. You know, I thought it was interesting his take on like stuff like Cabial and stuff. But yeah, I think there are parts of what John Fury says that are completely nuts. And then there are parts of what John Fury says that make a whole lot of sense. So yeah, I think it was pretty much what you'd expect, except for, I guess, the Sugar Hill stuff,
yeah, the
right?
Sugar Hill stuff was the most interesting regarding that. He said, by no uncertain terms, that he felt that Sugar Hill was the word he said was incapable of coaching Tyson Fury. He felt that really need to learn much more, just needs maybe a little bit of fine tuning, a little bit of tweaking, and then just to be kept fit. And he felt that he wasn't fit going into that second fight with Oleksandr Usyk. Just for context, he put on some nearly 20 pounds in that second fight, 19 pounds, I think it was, to be exact. And John was saying, look, I want him to be body beautiful. And Tyson's never been that. And he's always kind of championed the fact that he's not the fittest. He's not, as he always uses the comparison of Anthony Joshua, doesn't he? He doesn't go into the ring like a bodybuilder, as Tyson Fury says, but he goes in fit to box in whatever shape that might be. But John's particular umbrage with that was that he felt that he should have been how he was over in America for the fights with Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallen, where he's a bit more up top and heavier with big shoulders and a big back, is what John was saying. Do you feel that in that second fight that Tyson wasn't as fit as he could be? He wasn't in the peak of his powers, despite taking away, of course, the boxing element, that being older in age, you might slip and you might not be as good as you were, but physically, do you think he could have got to a shape that we've seen in the past?
Look, I'm not one to comment on anyone's aesthetics, but I think that yeah, look, I mean, I know that the channel rinsed me for this, but yes, he could have been in better shape. He looked probably, would it be fair to say, in his fighting career, obviously he took that huge break after he beat Klitschko, and he looked considerably worse then. But within his fighting career, that was probably the worst he looked.
I don't know if that was the worst he looked. In Ngannou, he didn't look very good.
I thought he looked worse than Ngannou. He was heavier than Ngannou, wasn't he?
You thought he looked worse than that second Fury Usyk fight?
Yeah, I thought so. The shorts looked crazy. Maybe it was just the outfit. I don't know, but yeah, I think it was not. It just wasn't good, or at least I don't think it was. It was. I just thought, yeah, he could have come in a little bit more svelte, and that might have worked in his favor.
Just a little sneak peek into the interview I've done with Tyson Fury's nutritionist Greg Marriott coming up on the channel very soon. He stated that, in his expert opinion, he felt that Tyson was maybe 60% of his capabilities going into that second fight with Oleksandr Usyk. So that gives you an idea as well from inside.
By the way, he was 4 pounds heavier for the Usyk fight, but then they did that weird weigh-in where they like weighed in their clothes. Remember that, where he had like a whole jacket on and everything? So I don't know exactly, probably around the same as he was for Ngannou. But Ngannou was probably the worst he looked, other than the second Usyk fight. And yeah, I thought he wasn't in the shape he could have been for a fight like that. Let's
get into the chat and see what you guys make of the whole situation. Starting off with Firestarter123, Twisted Firestarter. I've been listening back into some Prodigy recently. It's good gym tunes. Is Prodigy on your playlist, Dunno?
Not all the time, but yeah.
Would you ever cover it?
I wouldn't cover it. No, it's not a Two Kings type of vibe. I don't think Luke could play any of the Prodigy songs. Yeah, well, I would definitely do that. Well, I would just do that. I wouldn't.
Moving on, Umar says,
I wouldn't
was
sing
this?
it.
And he didn't finish the rest of his sentence. Sandshaw says, I prefer the silent John. Always good to hear from Big John. Championship Manager 0102, good game that was. Still play FM these days. Not as good as it was in the glory days, though. What are we waiting on? We're here. We're live now. Don't you gotta be patient. Good things to do.
Oh, brother, if you're only starting the chat now, it gets real good. Later on, Umar is not happy. I mean, he's probably gone by now, right? He's probably sick of us. But Umar is not happy at all.
It's not Umar IFL Umar, is it?
I don't think so. I would imagine not.
Probably another Tyson beat Usyk twice. Central is correct. David said, Uncle Fester, give it a rest. That's a swipe at John. Heads perfect for the Glasgow kiss. Definitely won't be attempting that on John anytime soon. That's for sure. More kind of words towards John Fury. Let's move on forward. Cussy System says, good to see you in here, Cuss. Eamon, great watch your interview with John Fury. However, how do you keep a straight face when John is so contradictory? You know what it is? It's one of those things where you're more not in the moment, present with everything, and that's a bit of a folly on my side. But John, I think when you listen to John, there are some things that you feel that make some sense in terms of we don't get to see, like, for example, the whole, I thought I'd give him the right of reply with the corner stuff, because we only see what's put out on the or what's captured by those cameras. It doesn't mean that everything is captured by the cameras. It doesn't mean that all the audio is captured. And John got a lot of stick and a lot of slack for that fight with Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk the first time round as to his advice and what he'd said. And we saw the other side of the advice, and that was painted as the right thing to do. So John got his side point of view across, and he said, look, why would we want him to go on the front foot when he didn't have his legs behind him? That would have led to him getting knocked out. And if you fast forward to when AJ fought Dubois, and then Ben Davison's getting stick for trying to go for that knockout, when people are then saying that actually he should have let his fighter recover, and experts in the industry, more established trainers are saying, that I speak to, are saying he should have kept himself on the back foot, recovered, and then gone for it. You then it puts things into context, and you kind of have to accept it for what it is, because it's not a case of you coming back and saying, oh, actually this is the case, because we only see as much as we can from it and can only deal with what we got in front of us. So in those sort of situations, it's a case of just kind of listening and absorbing and getting the questions in, as opposed to being reactionary to it. I didn't really find his takes like laughable either, to be honest with you. Like when John says something like, if a hater was in front of me and we wouldn't be having a cordial conversation, to put it lightly, like I definitely do believe him that would probably be the case. So,
well, I mean, Usyk's friend, the short guy in Saudi that time, got in front of him, and yeah, they didn't have a very cordial conversation at all. In fact, he got a Glasgow kiss.
And so I wouldn't want to test that out either. And plus as well too, as an interviewer, you kind of have to play it straight face and be professional. If in the event of something funny does turn up, I've not once yet broke on camera from something funny. I have had a couple of moments where I've had to bite my lip, but certainly not in the John Fury interview for sure. It's very much a professional approach from myself. David says he's a comedian without realizing. Maybe he means one of us too, or maybe he means John. What else have we got to say? Umar, this is a joke. Why go live so early? What time do you want us to go live, Umar? All these channels are going to get us subscribed for this rubbish. Okay, Umar. Where do you live, Umar? We don't need to know all of Umar's details. I'm just glad he's here.
Well, no, I want to know where he lives, just to hang out with him.
Yeah, great live show. All 30 seconds of it. I'm not sure what he's referring to. We are live, Vinny, aren't we? Maybe they're just trolling us. Jack Dutton on the 45 says, Jack, good to see you in here. Says, we need AJ versus Fury. Tyson will fight again. Don't know. Yeah, so jumping back on that interview with John Fury, he said a number of things that caught my attention. We covered a lot of topics amongst Eubank Jr. versus Ben, Anti-Joshua or Tyson Fury versus Anti-Joshua. We'll get onto that in a moment. John Fury, of course, talking about the Sugar Hill, the Usyk, but he also said that the third fight with Oleksandr Usyk, he can beat him if they do meet each other again. And of course, him being fit, needing to be a big part of it. But do you see that? Do you want to see a third fight between him and Oleksandr Usyk? And do you feel there's a route to victory for Tyson?
It's hard to imagine, based on the 24 rounds they've already done together, where he would turn it around. I think I wouldn't want to see it right away. I'd want to see him fight at least AJ first. I mean, he's just lost twice. The first one was a little close. I don't think the second one was that close. Even though obviously he got dropped pretty badly and arguably should have been stopped in the first. But I thought it was, in fact, otherwise he had done enough throughout the fight to at least warrant, at least a close scorecard if he didn't win it. But yeah, I think not for me right now. A trilogy, I think that would be hard to sell until he's beaten someone else.
That Tyson Fury is retired, or do you?
Look, here's my thing with Fury. I will always respect and have always respected when Tyson Fury announces that he's retiring. I mean, I know that like he's not being serious and he hasn't been serious up to this point. But if he were ever being serious and ever were actually hanging up the gloves, he absolutely deserves it. He's been a phenomenal servant to British boxing, and he's not a Floyd Mayweather. He's not. First off, he's not a smaller guy. He's a big heavyweight who has fought big punchers at heavyweight. He's done how many rounds with Deontay Wilder? 25-ish? No, 28-ish. With Wilder. That takes time off of your life, not just your career. You know, that's a vicious series of fights he had, particularly the first and the third. The second one, obviously, he got the jump. But I think Tyson's been through the wars, bro. That's not to mention he's been dropped a few times. He got dropped by Steve Cunningham, obviously the Usyk fight. So if he says he's done, I think I'm the only person who ever says, like, whether he's telling the truth or not, he should be. And he should have been before the Dillian White fight when he said he was done, or just after the Dillian White fight. I would have said, you know what? Happy enough. He absolutely was undisputed. He beat Vladimir Klitschko and then went on and beat Deontay Wilder. And in the interim, I don't believe anybody stepped in and made a very good case for being, the next best heavyweight in the world. So he beat Klitschko and he beat Wilder. And as far as I'm concerned, he was undisputed. I know that he didn't get all the belts or whatever, but he's had a legendary career. And if I were him, I would hang him up.